You wake to the soft brightening of a wall that knows you are waking. There is no alarm, no jarring sound, only light rising slowly the way dawn does over open country. And beneath it, the faint scent of coffee already beginning somewhere in your home. You lie still for a moment in the quiet, and you notice the quiet itself. How complete it is. How the low, restless noise that once filled every morning of the old world has simply gone. Then you turn, and the wall beside your bed clears like mist, and the city appears in the pale morning light, and you sit up to meet it. It is a city you almost recognize, and that is the strange and wonderful thing about it. It is not some impossible dream of distant centuries. It is close enough to touch, near enough that you can feel it pressing just beyond the edge of your own time. Towers rise wrapped in living green, terraces spilling vines and small trees into the open air. And between them, where you expect to see crowded roads, there is only a flowing garden at ground level threaded with quiet paths. You search for the gray ribbons of asphalt, the parked rows of metal, the haze that once hung over every skyline, and you find none of it. The city breathes. You rise, and the floor is warm, and as you move toward the kitchen, your home moves with you, light following your steps, the temperature settling to exactly what your body wants without your ever asking. Breakfast is waiting, made from things grown close by, and as you eat, you glance at the towers across the way and notice people tending gardens along their balconies. You realize the city grows much of its own food now, right where people live, in the light and the open air, so that what reaches your table traveled only a few floors, rather than half a world. Freshness stopped being a luxury. It became simply how things are. You step outside, and a small craft drifts up to meet you, quiet as a held breath, and you settle into it without a thought. It lifts and slips into a gentle current of others moving through the open air between the towers, none of them touching, none of them slowing, none of them waiting. There is no driver. You watch them weave past one another with an ease that should be impossible, guided by a single shared intelligence. And you understand that the gridlock and the danger and the lost hours of the old commute have quietly vanished. The journey that once stole an hour of your morning now takes minutes, and you spend them watching the gardens drift past below. The craft sets you down at the edge of a wide plaza, and you step out into a morning full of unhurried people. You notice the ease in them, the absence of the clenched anxiety that the old world wore like a second skin. No one is rushing. No one is bracing against the day. You pass a place where work is happening, and you discover that work itself has changed. People gather not because they must, but because they want to, collaborating on things that matter to them. The dull and grinding labor long since lifted away by quiet machines, leaving only the part humans always wanted to keep: the thinking, the making, the solving together. You wander into a sunlit space where children have gathered, and you wait for the rows and the schedules of the old schools and find none. Each child is following a different thread of curiosity. One is shaping a model of a river delta with her hands, watching how the water carves the land. Another is unfolding the patterns of music. A patient presence guides each of them, somehow knowing exactly how their particular mind learns, never rushing, never ranking. You realize that learning here is woven around the child rather than forced upon them, and that no young mind is left behind, because there is no single line they must all walk at the same pace. You walk on, and you pass a quiet place of healing, and you discover that medicine in this age waits for almost nothing. The body is watched over gently and always, the smallest troubles noticed and mended long before they could ever become illness. so that people spend far less of their lives sick or afraid. You meet the eyes of someone who looks perhaps 40, and a quiet certainty tells you they may be older than they appear. That the long, slow decline the old world accepted as inevitable has already begun in this near future, to soften and stretch into something kinder. If this almost reachable world is stirring something in you, a sense of the life that may be waiting just ahead, take a moment to subscribe and explore it further with us. Every future we walk through together is a reminder of what we are nearly ready to build. The more of us who hold this vision in mind, the closer it comes. Now let the journey continue. You rise into the air once more, and a transit line carries you upward until the whole city opens beneath you, and from here, you understand its shape. It did not sprawl outward to devour the land around it. It grew upward and gathered close, leaving the ground free to bloom into garden, and the edges of the city free to soften back into green. Beyond the towers, parks and woodland run toward the horizon. Rivers move unwalled through the open land, and you realize this city was built upward precisely so the living world around it could be left room to breathe. The line carries you to the crown of a high tower wrapped entirely in green, and there you discover where the city draws its power. The towers themselves gather it, their living skins and bright surfaces drinking sunlight from the open sky, gentle and endless and clean, so that all the comfort and all the quiet motion of this city leave no smoke and no scar behind. You understand that this was the turning the old world had reached toward for so long, a city that gives more to the world than it takes, and that it arrived not in some distant, unreachable century but here, close enough almost to feel. You descend as the day softens toward evening, and the towers begin to glow, not with harsh electric glare but with a warm and golden light, as though the city itself were exhaling. People gather in the garden plazas and along the high terraces to share food and slow conversation, and you notice the thing beneath all of it. There is time here. No one races toward the next task. The hours that the old world surrendered to traffic and toil and worry have been quietly handed back, and people spend them on one another, on the things they love, on simply being alive. You find a quiet place at the edge of a terrace and sit, and below you the lights of the city wake one by one across the breathing green. You watch a child point upward at the first emerging stars, asking a question you cannot hear, and you watch an elder answer with a smile. And it settles over you, the meaning of this place. None of it is far away. This gentle, breathing, unhurried city is not a dream of some distant age beyond your reach. It is near, almost within touching distance of your own time, and every clean breath and quiet hour and healed body that fills it was once a problem someone swore could never be solved, undone by people who refused to stop reaching for something better. You lean back beneath the glowing towers and look up at the gathering stars, and a single thought stays with you as the city shines softly into the evening. This is what we are nearly ready to become, and quietly, somewhere within you, you begin to believe that we will reach it.